Let's stick with tech. Wall Street sentiment on Apple hitting a 5-year low after it unveiled a new line of products earlier this week. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman joins us now for more. Mark, welcome to the program, sir. It's not been a great time for Apple over the last few months. We talked about an upgrade super cycle for iPhones for the last several years. It hasn't developed. Do you see anything, Mark, in the latest unveiling that's going to encourage people to say, yeah, now's the time, let's upgrade?
Well, we haven't talked about an iPhone supercycle the last few years. Others have talked about an iPhone supercycle. To me, it seemed kind of obvious. Design is what sells. New form factors are what sells. Real AI features are what sells. And over the last few years, Apple has not had that. That's why I'm a big believer in this year's release, because new designs, new colors, new looks, new features, that's what sells. So I'm pretty optimistic for these new 17 Pro and Pro Maxes because of the new look, because of the camera improvements, because of the new colors. I would anticipate some semblance of lines this time around. In addition to people simply wanting to check out the iPhone Air. They might not buy it because it's not very practical, given the battery life and camera constraints, but certainly it's going to bring people into stores to take a look.
Mark, one thing we've heard from a lot of guests on the program, particularly the bears, of course, is that ultimately it's not about looks, it's about functionality now. What are you doing with Apple Intelligence? What steps have they taken to improve things on that front?
Well, I don't necessarily agree. I think we're about a year away from people really making purchase decisions in regards to AI features. Apple has definitely done a very poor job on implementing AI. Their rollout over the past year and a half for their Apple Intelligence functionality has been nothing short of a borderline disaster for the company. But it's not really impacting purchases. We're still, like I said, many months away from that being a real factor. People buy phones because they break their screen. People buy phones because they want a new look. And people buy phones because they have run their battery into the ground. But in terms of upcoming AI integrations, you'll see a revamped Siri in March.
Can you promise me, Mark, that if I drop this one, the Air, that it won't break?
I can't promise you, but it was actually quite interesting. A couple Apple executives did an interview with a website called Tom's Guide I saw on YouTube yesterday. And Greg Joswiak, the head of marketing, threw his iPhone Air to one of the journalists and asked them to try to bend it in half. Because if you remember when Apple did a super thin iPhone 6 Plus back in 2014, you could just bend it in half like you're bending a piece of paper almost, right? And this guy was trying and trying and trying, and he could not bend that thing. So I can't promise you that if you do it, it won't break. But clearly they're confident enough to have a journalist on YouTube try to break it in half, and nothing happened.